actually FAM, what happened? What happened to this situation? FIFA within 1-2 weeks ni pemain ni datuk dia from Spain, St. Pedro ke apa, they found it very fast. So if they could have done it, what was FAM doing? She just explain.
Terdapat pendapat bahawa kelayakan 7 pemain ni patut ditarik balik. Matt Davis, Brandon Gunn. Ini semua kenapa FAM dulu boleh buat yang cantik. Tetapi di bawah pengurusan yang berbeza, ada CEO pula tu, Rock Fan, timbul perkara ini. Tapi sekarang semua orang nak protect siapa? Masalah sistem kita dan masalah budaya kita, apakah kita counting dan kita protect? Tak betul tu.
Okey. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. Anda terima kasih kerana setia bersama saya Riza Hashim dan Harish Diol dalam podcast Julang. Tolong bagi tahu kawan-kawan subscribe dan follow kita punya social media platforms untuk mendapat interview, menonton interview dan juga mendapat maklumat-maklumat yang special sikit berbanding dengan podcast-podcast lain. Kerana kami wartawan yang ada pengalaman kalau gabungkan lebih 50 tahun. Pun masih lagi dalam bulan Syawal, kita belum terlewat untuk mengucapkan selamat hari raya dan maaf zahir batin daripada saya dan juga daripada Harish. Jadi Harish, puas makan lemang tak?
Puas.
Puas. Rendang ayam ke rendang daging?
Tahun ni terlebih puas pasal dekat kawasan kita dan sekitar Lembah Kelang. A lot of kedai gerai lemang.
Betul.
You perasan tak?
Ya, perasan.
It's like we are spot for choice.
Lemang biasa ke lemang ada jagung?
Biasa.
Oh, biasa.
I like
okay.
it. Biasa.
Jadi kita nak tanya juga nanti, kita punya tetamu ni dia makan lemang ke tak? Tapi kita nak perkenalkan tetamu kita hari ini, Encik Richard Wee, seorang peguam sukan. Betul, peguam sukan. Bukan
yang
klaim peguam sukan.
Peguam. Tapi antara specialty beliau ialah teknologi, employment dan juga sukan. Dan kebetulan kita kena perkenalkan. Belum habis lagi intro. Pernah menganggotai jawatankuasa disiplin Persatuan Bola Sepak Malaysia. Itu
Diperkenalkan. Sila, apa khabar Encik Richard Wee?
Apa khabar
Bagus?
Cik Harish, Cik Rizal? Thank you for having me. Saya cuba cakap Melayu lah, tapi kalau dah lekat tu
tak apa, boleh. Perancis pun okey.
Perancis pun
okey.
Saya nak ucapkan terima kasih dulu. Selamat raya kepada semua. Saya Richard Wee, peguam Malaysia sejak tahun 1999. Dan betul lah apa yang Abang Harish kata. Saya dah berkhidmat ni 3 perkara yang buat tu, teknologi, employment dengan sukan. And yes, I was serving in FAMDC between 2013 to 2017.
Lama, 4 tahun.
4 tahun. Masa tu Presiden adalah Tengku Mahkota Pahang dah. Sekarang dah Sultan Pahang dah agung dah ya.
Ya, okey.
Tapi 2 cabang yang beliau specialize in agak menarik dalam konteks sukan Malaysia kerana bila ada bola sepak tentunya ada masalah isu gaji. So kalau nak cari, tolong cari Richard Wee.
Itulah actually Harish,
both sports and employment issues.
Correct, exactly falls into that. Actually, I'm a member of NDRC. NDRC is the National Dispute Resolution Chambers.
Okay.
And saya salah satu adjudicator bahagian rayuan. I represent PFAM.
So berapa banyak kes?
Actually most of the time kes tu selesai di bawah bahagian bawah. Tak kena atas ke bahagian atas appeal. So I've not got a chance to really hear a case, tapi saya menasihat lah. Because we are at appeal level.
Dia maknanya settle case tu. Tapi
depends,
bayaran tak dibayar.
So there is a decision, but it still depends on whether the club, kadang-kadang club tak duit.
Mampu ke tak?
Itu
yang
this is created by FIFA, not created by FAM. FIFA created NDRC. All over the world there's NDRC, but there is a NDRC FAM lah. So our letter of appointment come from FAM and FIFA. So I think there's a very big group of lawyers sitting in the first level. Then a few of us sit in the appeal lah. Appeal tak banyak.
Dulu tak ramai peguam yang specialize dalam area sukan. Tapi dalam bidang sukan tapi sekarang ni saya lihat bahawa, and please correct me if I'm wrong Richard, tapi sekarang ni saya lihat ramai peguam berkecimpung dalam arena sukan,
there's an interest,
which is good lah.
Yeah, good, very good.
Dia pakar
Yeah.
undang-undang sukan lah.
Yeah.
Because you ada sebenarnya sports law association kan of
Yeah, one of the
Slam.
early boys lah. I
early
started
boys.
Slam in 2016.
Okay.
I continued to serve Slam for many years.
Okay.
But recently I let go je lah, let other people lead lah. Bagi
Run
orang baru
ni.
buat.
Okay.
So the new leadership is now led by my friend. What's his name? I dah lupa.
My friend tapi lupa nama. Bagus lah tu.
I dah lupa nama dia.
Mr. Singh
Yeah.
kan?
Mr. Singh,
Mr.
correct.
Singh,
Yeah.
yes,
He's
Mr. Singh,
also a lawyer from
Betul,
Johor.
betul.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
He's a reporter also. Used to be a reporter, I remember.
Really?
Yeah. I cannot remember his name now. Nice guy. But yeah, he's the leader now.
Okay.
Alright. Okay, so kita sedikit kita dah tahu dah. Kita nak terus dive into the ni lah.
Ya.
Isu yang paling panas. Dipersilakan Harish.
Isu paling panas dipersilakan.
Senang kita tai chi dekat Harish je.
Tai chi kuat
Tai chi.
dia.
No, wait,
Kuat
look.
tai chi ya.
Kami memanggil Richard hari ini adalah untuk memberikan pengetahuan, pendidikan. Kerana kita lihat terdapat pelbagai andaian, pelbagai spekulasi, pelbagai tafsiran, pelbagai apa sajalah, assumption, presumption and whatever what not, mengenai apa yang telah pun berlaku terhadap isu 7 pemain Malaysia yang sangkut kerana isu kewarganegaraan lah. But and I think penting kita tetapkan di sini bahawa terdapat 2 perbualan. Satu ialah isu kewarganegaraan, kerakyatan, dari segi konteks Malaysia, decision Putrajaya, keputusan oleh Putrajaya, dan lagi satu ialah keputusan oleh
FIFA.
And CAS lah.
Mana
dan
eligibility rules
lah. Okay. Walaupun kita dah tahu, kita don't want to dwell too much into the past. Kita dah tahu apa yang telah berlaku. But in a nutshell, dalam rumusan, Richard, apakah pendapat anda sebagai seorang peguam mengenai apa yang telah berlaku setakat ini?
So the question actually, Harish, we must differentiate between eligibility and nationality. You get it spot on when you mentioned tadi isu kewarganegaraan. So isu kewarganegaraan dengan isu eligibility untuk main bola sepak tu 2 perkara lain. So the issue of nationality is within the domain of the nation. Whether you are Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, it is up to the nation to allow a person to be a nationality or otherwise. As we just discussed before the podcast started, under our constitution, di bawah artikel 19A, kerajaan dibenarkan untuk memberi kewarganegaraan kepada orang yang to them ditafsirkan eligible lah. There is quite a wide range. Issue eligibility to play football, on the other hand, is based on FIFA rules. And the first rule is quite obvious. You must be born in the country. So I am born in Malaysia, I can play for Malaysia. But what if I have been living in Thailand for the last 20 years? The answer is possible, provided you qualify certain length of time staying, blah blah blah. The third one is your birthright. Who's your mom and dad? So like Tim Cahill, I always give Tim Cahill as an example. He was born in Western Samoa, but he plays for Australia. And many British football players, for example, born in England, play for Ireland because their father, mother is from Ireland. Then there's the third category where the grandparents, where they are from. So at FIFA allow a player, jikalau atuk moyang dia tu orang Malaysia, boleh main. Can. So these 7 players, they were trying to be eligible to play for football in Malaysia on that basis, that my grandfather or grandmother is from Malaysia. Unfortunately, we all know that failed lah, that was not allowed.
Okay, Richard, kalau kita tekan butang fast forward ke hari ini, di mana kita dah tahu dah, tak perlulah ulang balik kita dah tahu dah keputusan CAS, kita dah tahu dah keputusan Putrajaya pun mereka menyatakan bahawa tak, mereka masih, tujuan ni masih rakyat Malaysia. Tetapi berdasarkan apa yang CAS telah putuskan, terdapat pendapat bahawa kerakyatan 7 pemain ni patut ditarik balik. Now, saya mempunyai pendapat sendiri kerana I would believe that a sovereign nation would not want to pander or at least create the optics that they are being allowed to, they are being forced into into the decision of others, meaning that I'm a sovereign nation, I've remade a decision, that's it lah.
I don't want a U-turn.
I'm not going to make a U-turn lah, although kadang-kadang kerajaan suka buat U-turn lah. Tapi I mean moving forward, what are your thoughts? Adakah benar tentang, I know Rizal has got his opinion, but what is yours? Rizal, patut tarik balik atau tak?
Patut.
So Rizal satu word, patut. Okay, Richard.
So you see, Harish,
But legally speaking, not emotions, legally speaking.
Actually, it's a very good question, Harish, because banyak orang tanya saya, Richard, patutlah kan dia orang bukan orang Malaysia, mak datuk dia pun bukan Malaysia, kenapa dia masih Malaysia? I think it's a natural reaction for anybody using a simple calculating method that if I got in because my grandfather is a Malaysian and my grandfather is not a Malaysian, so shouldn't be in lah. But the problem is that dari segi kewarganegaraan, selagi kerajaan memberikan kewarganegaraan itu dah cukup. So sama ada kerajaan nak tarik balik, there is another process. Ini bukan sewenang-wenangnya kerajaan kata nak tarik balik. So it's not as easy as people think it is. Having said that, the discretion untuk menarik balik falls within the kerajaan, which is the minister lah. Minister yang ada hak mutlak sama ada nak beri atau tak tarik balik. So I think what can happen is that someone needs to apply to the minister. Because I think the minister at the moment is not taking any steps yet. To be fair to the minister, we don't know what's happening in KDN lah. Maybe sekarang minister is having a discussion. We cannot jump to conclusion. But from outside, kita nampak macam senyap lah. With respect to the minister, as of today, 1st of April, we haven't heard anything from KDN, whether they are going to move forward or not. So if later on KDN do something, then I apologize to the minister lah. Very good, he do something. But my view is that, legally speaking, they are still a Malaysian citizen, even though the basis of the citizenship now is under question.
Yes.
So we may need a certain process to revoke it if we want that to happen.
Tadi Richard, you cakap mengenai someone has to apply, memohon, menyatakan bahawa kewarganegaraan 7 pemain ni harus ditarik balik.
Yeah, so
bermakna
example-nya saya bagi contoh, because it was the 7 players who applied to become the nationality, so it can be either the minister himself, he initiate a process that saya rasa we have to review and we have to revoke. He has a discretion to give the power, to give the citizenship. Dia pun ada kuasa untuk tarik balik, so he can start that. Or maybe macam police report lah, someone write a letter to KDN to say, for example, maybe an association kata, can you review this players?
Kaji semula.
So of course it's up to KDN,
Baik,
like Harish mentioned earlier, minister dia punya discretion, whether they want or don't want lah, right?
Ya, persoalannya Richard, kerana mereka 7 pemain ini, Garces, Machuca, Havel antaranya kan, mereka ni dikenal pasti disebabkan pandai main bola dan sebenarnya untuk mewakili negara. Sekarang ni Badan Induk Dunia FIFA dah katakan mereka tidak eligible. Jadi disebabkan asas itu saja, sepatutnya kerajaan boleh mengambil tindakan. Kerana kalau ikut Badan Induk Bola Sepak Dunia FIFA, mereka dah tak layak. Kita dah melalui proses jawatankuasa disiplin, jawatankuasa rayuan FIFA, kemudian CAS pun dah kata mereka tak layak. Jadi kalau nak layak pun sebagai mereka bukan warga negara Malaysia sebenarnya. So, based on eligibility rules.
So Rizal, yang komen kamu tu tepat dari segi eligibility untuk bermain bola sepak untuk Malaysia. Tapi dari segi kerakyatan lain sikit. Walaupun kerakyatan beliau di 7 players memang berdasarkan kepada keinginan untuk bermain bola sepak untuk Malaysia. Memang kita tahu they can put whatever they do, but we know that's the main purpose. But in Parliament, the minister, I think he explained last year that the players were eligible. They qualified. He never talked about playing football, you know. So I think the minister is taking that role. Yeah. So, but like I said, we need someone to push lah, it to say that if someone push the minister to say to add it in, someone also need to push the minister to take them out. Yeah.
Richard, jika anda berdasarkan pada apa yang kita tahulah setakat ni, jika anda diberi peluang, ada peluang is the right word or not, untuk menasihati 7 pemain ini, apakah nasihat a legal advice that you will give these 7 players given the current situation, kerana mereka telah seperti diketahui ramai 12 bulan kan kena gantung. Walaupun boleh beraksi dalam bola sepak tetapi tidak boleh bermain, boleh berlatih tapi tak boleh bermain. So what would your advice be? Kerana 12 bulan ni is a loss of income, you know, in many ways, because you can't play, your performance will drop, and then it makes it difficult for the next season. So anyway, if you were to advise them, apakah
that's a good question. I never thought of that because never addressed my mind to the 7 players. As in, if I advise them, I think the first one, Harish, will be whether they can take action against anybody for causing them to be in this position.
Who would the party be?
Well, they have always claimed that they got the advice from agents lah, that they have they claim some third parties involved. We don't know who, right? There have been, let's be very open here, there's been allegations against certain characters, certain individuals, certain top leaders. We don't know. We don't have the data to pursue. Very, very dangerous to simply accuse, you know. But these 7 players have constantly said that they got these documents. They claim that their grandparents are Malaysian, and some agents are helping them. So they may want to take that action that way. But having said that, Harish, they cannot at one moment say that, oh, not my fault, you know, this person asked me to apply. You should know whether your parents or grandparents are Malaysian. Yeah. So maybe that is why until now they haven't taken action. Maybe. Yeah. Second thing is that they may want to perhaps try to lower the sentence, which they tried. They failed. They managed to only bring it down to 12 months. And I must say the CAS was very nice to them, because CAS even gave them a discount for 4 months because of the since October sampai sekarang. So they are back in to play in November, which is just a few more months. And CAS also now allow them to train. Earlier FIFA said totally out. You need to be outside the training ground. So to some extent, I think the players options to complain and avenue to seek redress dah makin kecil lah, sebab dah bagi peluang dah. I let you play, I let you train, I let you stay with the team, which means you can still earn salary. It's up to the team whether they want to pay you, but you can play, you know. So if I'm the lawyer, I'll tell the players, you know, you look very funny lah if you file any suit, you know, because you're given so much opportunities. And assuming that they are really innocent, then of course some players mungkin as a matter of principle, Harish, you know, some people say, oh, it's a matter of principle, I must take that. Then yeah lah, go ahead, file a suit, sue against the agent, sue FAM, sue whoever who brought you in. But it will take a long time for you to win the case. By the time you win, it could be 3 years from now, assuming you win. So I think if I'm the lawyer, I just tell the agent, look, chill, train. Sometimes going to court doesn't really solve all the problems. Always better to look at ways of solution. Train and get ready for 6 months time, then start playing again.
So FIFA dalam motivated decision JK Rayuan pun dia mengatakan players ni complicit.
Correct.
Maknanya mereka tahu bahawa datuk nenek mereka bukan orang Malaysia.
Correct.
Tapi mereka bekerjasama dengan pihak-pihak tertentu. Itu sebab itu jelas tertera mengatakan mereka complicit. Maknanya mereka bersubahat dalam kes ini.
Correct.
Jadi apakah kita sebagai rakyat Malaysia, kita boleh menerima sebenarnya mereka pun terbabit complicit bersubahat dalam pemalsuan dokumen ini? Jadi itulah sebenarnya yang menjadi kenapa kalau kita kaji sentimen netizen, kebanyakannya mereka memang tidak setuju mereka diberi kerakyatan. Kerana mungkin juga mereka melihat ada setengah pemain yang bermain dengan pasukan yang memberi advantage kepada pasukan itu. Jadi itu juga tidak memberi gambaran yang baik kepada bola sepak Malaysia. Jadi bagaimana kita nak maju sebagai sebuah negara kalau benda ini pun kita tidak ada tanggungjawab dan integriti serta etika-etika yang betul untuk membetulkan keadaan. Jadi itulah saya nak tanya. Sekarang ni kalau tadi Haris tanya kalau you nasihat pemain, bagaimana kalau you nasihat FM dan juga kerajaan?
Oh, FM is very good.
To say that. If you are part of the AGC, what would it be?
Well, if
what would the recommendation be to the Home Ministry?
If I'm let's say within the government system, I think they have to investigate the players because this creates a bad precedent. Jikalau dibenarkan berterusan, the message we send to the whole world is Malaysia ni tak apalah. Kita ni timur pemain yang dokumen yang sah tak sah. Kita masih masuk Malaysia lagi. So that's the wrong message you send out. You should at least investigate and hopefully have some conclusion. But the FAM part, that's more important to me. I used to serve FAM and I have friends in FAM. So this comments is quite difficult lah. Kalau ada kawan kat sana kan. But I have to say what I have to say lah as a football fan that I feel FAM kurang communication. You didn't communicate to the people. Football is a national sports. We love football. Orang yang tak suka pun tahu football. We identify ourselves with the sports of football. So FAM is not just a normal association. FAM is the living passion of our national sports. I think FAM is more prominent than KBS and MSN, ISN, you know. So what I would have recommended FAM to do, of course, the people inside will say, Richard, you tak tahu ABC 1, 2, 3. That's a problem, right? We don't know what ABC 1, 2, 3. But if subject to that, I would have advised FAM based on the information we have now is, number one, come clean. Just explain what happened. Until now, we are having this podcast because we don't know what's happening. Let's be frank. Kalau dia keluar satu cerita tu, maybe our podcast will be about moving forward. What can we do? Sekarang sampai sekarang, it's been like 7 months. We're still thinking, what happened? Who's behind the scene? Blah blah blah. So FAM should just explain. Yeah. If they are trying to protect certain people, then make sure you do the protection, or you remove the person, or take steps to reinvigorate the association because somebody made a mistake. Clearly, somebody made a mistake. So we don't know who, and it's very dangerous for any commentators like us. Kita buat comment kata defamation. Lepas tu we receive letter demand. But the reason why we comment is we don't know. So let me say this in the press. I ask the question now. Actually, FAM, what happened? What happened to this situation sampai kita ada pemain yang dokumen tu tak dikenal pasti, due diligence memang tak memadai, tak mencukupi, sampailah kita dapat player yang dokumen tu tak tepat. Because FIFA within 1-2 weeks, the first instance, they just write a letter or email, we don't know how they communicate. Argentina hantar, Spain hantar, say, yeah bro, ni pemain ni datuk dia from Spain, San Pedro ke apa. So they found it very fast. So if they could have done it, what was FAM doing? So just explain. Then when the rakyat nampak, okay lah, let us understand as a fan, as a supporter, we invest in football, we buy jerseys, we buy balls, we go to the stadium, we support the team. So have some respect for the love of the game lah. If you don't love yourself, at least respect the love of the game. I would say FAM should just do that first lah. They are the key.
Sorry Richard, maaf Richard, tapi Richard memberi gambaran bahawa it's more of a communication problem.
One of the issues, not the only issue. One of the issues, yeah.
Tetapi dari segi undang-undang sekarang ni, apakah nasihat yang anda ingin atau boleh berikan kepada FAM pada situasi ini dan andaian terhadap apa yang kita tahu setakat ini? Kerana kita tak tahu apa yang tengah berlaku di Wisma FAM lah, tapi apa yang kita tahu setakat inilah.
Well, based on the documents yang dia hantar, FAM sering kali mengatakan bukan salah dia, orang lain bagi tu. Then you must take action against yang orang lain. Yang siapa orang lain ni, dia kata some agent give me, the word agent keep on coming up, right? I've heard rumours, mungkin agent ni, agent tu, but it's all rumours. So if it's through the agent yang bagi salah, you must take action. At the very least, you must start an action to show the world that I am taking action.
FAM telah menyatakan bahawa dan mengakui bahawa terdapat seseorang yang salah internal terdapat kesilapan teknikal. Sebagai penasihat undang-undang kepada Badan Indo, andaian sekali lagi lah, just assume that you are lah, adakah anda akan memberitahu mereka bahawa look, it's time for us to reveal what steps we have taken internally untuk fix the situation, kerana sehingga kini kita tak tahu. Would that be your advice?
Yes, that falls within again issue communication lah, Harish. That the FAM should come transparent, you know, and explain to the people that we have taken steps to remedy the situation. And with regards to the error made, that the person has to be accountable. Either the person is suspended or there was a blame against the GS. So if really the GS is at fault, then I'm sorry to say to the GS, maybe you have to resign. You know, no disrespect to the GS. I'm sure when he sees this, he get angry with me, but I accept. When you want to comment, you have to accept the attack. But if in the normal world, in the corporate world, and FAM runs like a corporate, right? Harish, you know that. Kalau saya as a, let's say, a finance officer, saya buat salah, they will sack me. Or they will be penalized or fined or suspended. So why is there no action taken on FAM yet? It's not that kita nak orang dikaitkan, nak orang dihukumkan, but that is the process of accountability. So that would be something I will recommend them to review lah.
Jadi pelik sebenarnya kerana selepas September tahun lepas sampai sekarang, no one is assuming responsibility. No one has been thrown under the bus. No one has been
Should
blamed.
someone be thrown under the bus?
Ya, sepatutnya mesti ada. Kerana
why thrown under the bus?
Dia pertama, kalau kita lihat, kita mesti generasi TikTok ni dia tak baca sejarah. Kita kaji je chronology of events. Pertama, bagaimana Guilherme Di Paula dan juga Liridon Krasniqi diberi IC Malaysia. Mereka memenuhi tempoh pemastautin 5 tahun. Okey. Itu yang tidak ada kena-mengena dengan lineage Malaysia. Kalau lineage kalau yang yang ada natural Paulo Josue sama juga. Maknanya tidak ada lineage, tapi selepas 5 tahun pemain KL tu diberi kerajaan. Pemain KL. Enric Dos Santos sama juga. Kenapa sebelum ini tidak ada isu? Tidak timbul sebarang isu. Kerana mereka memenuhi kriteria dari segi pemastautin dan juga bagaimana pula pemain-pemain warisan terdahulu. Corbin Ong. Bukan lahir di Malaysia, tapi ada lineage Malaysia, keturunan Malaysia. Matt Davis, Brandon Gunn.
Very good player.
Jadi ini semua kenapa FM dulu boleh buat dengan cantik. Tidak timbul masalah. Tetapi di bawah pengurusan yang berbeza, ada CEO pula tu, Rob Friend, timbul perkara ini. Jadi bila kita mesti ambil tindakan terhadap seseorang, mesti ada someone yang responsible the whole issue. Tapi sampai sekarang semua orang nak protect siapa? Jadi ini sebenarnya masalah sistem kita dan masalah budaya kita. Kita apakah kita counting dan kita protect? Tak betul tu. Jadi macam you kata tadi, kita create a bad precedent. Jadi kerajaan sepatutnya harus mengambil tindakan, harus investigate dan juga harus mengkaji semula kedudukan 7 pemain ini.
I think for the kerajaan, isu kerajaan tu, Reza kena orang Kelantan kata ke koh-koh sikit lah. Very careful. Yes, they can investigate criminal offences. So that's why I keep on saying they should investigate about the 7 players, macam mana dia dapat nationality. But to investigate FAM, that may trigger the FIFA rules, government intervention, blah blah blah. Provided if they investigate due to corruption or some criminal investigation, which up to now we have not had enough evidence lah.
Richard, don't mind me persoalan. Perkataan forge and falsification diguna pakai oleh FIFA berkali-kali.
Actually, they use the word doctored.
Doctored, forge and falsification.
Yes, correct. Then they use forge after that.
3 perkataan ni diguna pakai. Okay. As you and I know, and everyone else also, forgery is a crime.
Yes.
Okay. Sebagai, dari segi undang-undang, bukankah that itself boleh mengundang
to come and investigate
satu
I agree.
penyiasatan?
So based on that itself, well, in this case will be the police. They can come and investigate that part. How do you do the forgery? But they have to be very careful in when I say they, I'm talking about the government coming in to intervene in FAM's administration because of the issues of government intervention.
No, but that the way you were making it sound like as though
Polis tak boleh siasat.
That's right. I think it's very clear what government intervention means. And please correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me. I think it's very clear. I mean, we've had ministers before and current minister as well who are like very diplomatic. It's like as though views are seen as interference. You can have a view. But it does not mean interference.
Correct.
You can investigate.
Betul.
But it does not mean interference. Interference is like I kata tak A sampai Z semua orang aku. That's interference.
Correct. So there's a big difference between interference and investigation.
I think,
Betul.
don't you think that we are getting it confused?
To a large extent, yes. But in my mind is very clear.
Uh-huh.
When we talk about the investigation or wrongdoing, it has to be for criminal offences. In this case, specific for this case,
Yeah.
where the government step in for the allegations of, in fact, it's no more allegations because
Dah
FIFA
jelas.
is making a decision. Yeah, so they should investigate that. That part should be investigated.
Okay.
But that's why I say KDN is still silent now on that point. But we issues of intervention, interference, any government must be careful. So when we're talking about interference means, for example, minister come in and say, "Oh, I think we should sack certain person." Cannot. The government cannot do that. You cannot. That FAM must self-regulate. Or FAM can. The government said, "Oh no, I think the whole national team system is wrong." They cannot say that. But of course, the minister can give an idea.
Okay, Richard, I beg to differ. And I just want to know your legal advice. I mean, your expertise lah. I mean, you're in the scene, so you should know better. But but I beg to differ. I mean, like, if let's say, for example, a minister atau siapa saja menyatakan bahawa daripada kerajaan di Putrajaya menyatakan, ataupun Perdana Menteri yang menyatakan bahawa FAM apa ni, I dah bagi juta ringgit dah
30 million.
dekat
Yeah.
tak sebelum ni pun lah. I mean, let's not just fault this particular administration. Sebelum ni pun ada berjuta-juta, okay? Dan inikah hasil dia? Ya, baik orang bungkus lah.
Yeah.
Now, is that intervention? Interference.
No,
Sorry.
that's not. That one is a fair comment.
That's a fair
That's
comment.
fair comment.
Betul.
Correct.
Sebab tu saya ingin menyatakan bahawa I think some people are getting that confused.
I understand what you're talking about. For me, I'm quite clear lah, Harish, that when I say interference means not just talking with let's say the minister step in and say you should sack this person, you should move this person, then I think that FIFA may step in. Of course, the Indonesian case last time was very drastic, where the government came in and changed the whole FAM, Indonesian
PSSI.
FA. So that one clearly wrong lah. The government did that, but they had to because of the allegations of corruption. But FAM, I feel what our minister can do without interfering is actually do the audit. You hit the spot, Harish. The money that was the government invested is our money.
Betul.
Duit
Taxpayers'
rakyat,
money, betul.
So as a government, we can say, "Hey, I want to know how you spend the money. I want to do an audit." That is not interference. And if FIFA thinks it is, then we should fight FIFA because the money comes from us. But when it comes to these issues of the 7 nationality players, the issues of the forgery, that can be investigated. Should be investigated. By the police.
Dia sebenarnya ni cik, kalau you ingat sebenarnya kan FAM sudah pun selepas jawatankuasa yang dipengerusikan oleh Tun Raus sudah pun dah buat siasatan, sudah pun memberi beberapa syur, kemudian disusuli pula dengan laporan polis yang dibuat untuk melihat proses pemalsuan ni lah. Tapi apa yang berlaku? Tiba-tiba senyap. Apakah no further action NFA?
And don't forget also AFC recently came out with a report to say there's a
culture of conformity. Budaya akur. Tapi ada juga kita memang kita akur bahawa di Malaysia ni SYMP, saya yang menurut perintah.
What was SYMP?
SYMP. Tak, pasal itu dulu bila kita tanya, ada seorang ketua pengarah dia kata SYMP, kan dia tulis tu, dia sign saya yang menurut perintah. Jadi macam mana kita nak maju?
I learn new phrase today.
SYMP.
New acronym, yeah.
Macam mana tu? Culture of conformity tu bagus tu. Maknanya AFC membuat audit tu. Dia dah interview ramai semua tokoh-tokoh dan pemegang jawatan dan juga staff FAM. Jadi macam mana kita nak perbetulkan keadaan ni? Apabila from the top pun kita tak ni. Okey, betul. Exco pucuk pimpinan FAM, walaupun mereka tidak bersalah sepenuhnya, mereka meletak jawatan. Tapi still tak ada orang yang assume responsibility dan tidak ada siapa yang nak kata apa hukuman, apa tindakan.
To be fair, Rizal, I think when the people FAM resigned, that was the first step towards accountability.
Betul. Okay.
So well done. We must
tabik dia orang lah.
Acknowledge, tabik lah. Acknowledge when they do something which we feel generally feels correct. Yeah, okay, fair. But in my view, there are 3 solutions to this. One is that when it comes to government, they have to investigate on the forged documents. Second one is that I think we need to look at a bigger picture, which is to reform the way we regulate the governance of the association. Now we have a PJS, and I pity them because their powers are limited, and they're trying very hard to work. If you know the PJS office, you can see that they are sometimes fighting a losing battle, and the PJS officers are trying. some people may comment otherwise. I've seen my own eyes. They work hard. They try. Maybe we should give them a little bit more governing regulatory method. Maybe make them an integrity commission where they can also help with the anti-doping. They can help issues of integrity in sport, and this can come under them. Give them more due diligence process. You can use the word power, but I think it's a bit more too powerful to use the word power. Create a new commission or expand the power of PJS so that this won't happen again. And then the third thing is actually we really need to, more importantly lah, I know this sounds a bit funny and may not be about lawyer, but we need to look at the character of the rakyat lah. I think our Malaysian people terlalu cepat kau tim lah. Everything want to settle,
compromise.
don't want to find trouble. But a wrong is a wrong is a wrong, and we don't have the accountability concept. Marah kat social media number one, nak everything get angry, but then when it comes to the real thing, nobody wants to do something. Then we have this cultural problem that I think should be more addressed more importantly, because no matter what you create in the system, kalau orang tu masih nak bagi duit, masih ikut, masih nak cari lubang, then we cannot solve the problem. We must have a culture where let's do things properly, let's respect the system, because if we do it properly now, it will be good in 10 years time. That concept dah hilang.
It took someone outside the system, iaitu AFC, penolong Deputy General Secretary Wahid Kadani, orang Iran, untuk menyatakan bahawa culture of conformity dalam FAM tu, budaya akur, sebenarnya adalah reflection of society.
Yeah.
Dan sebenarnya kita sebagai individu pun mungkin kita langgar lampu merah, kita tidak ada integriti. Tanpa orang memerhati, kita tidak menunjukkan bahawa kita sebenarnya a trustworthy person. Jadi itu sebenarnya budaya yang kita harus ubah.
Sadly lah, is like that-nya.
Kan? Jadi macam mana dalam keadaan sebegini, under the circumstances, kita nak move forward sekarang ni? Pasal first, kalau kita nak move forward, kita kena ada kenal pasti kelemahan kita. Sekarang ni AFC, kita tunggu AFC lah. Maknanya AFC buat audit, siapa lepas ni, bila siapa akan jadi presiden. Jadi kita tunggu juga benda tu. Itu something yang interesting tu. Mungkin kita kena jemput Datuk Seri Winsor John sekali lagi dekat podcast.
Mungkin.
Yeah, I think should.
Ataupun Wahid Kadani, because he's in charge of the ni.
They'll be fantastic speakers for you all. But
nak tambah apa yang Rizal menyatakan tadi, actually tak nak banyak, just nak tahu moving forward. So jika anda sekali lagi role playing, jika anda merupakan penasihat buat FAM sebagai contoh, apakah nasihat anda kepada mereka? Kerana seperti diketahui ramai, kempen kita di Asian Cup dah habis. Kita kalah 3-1 kepada Vietnam. So that chapter has closed. Tetapi apa yang berlaku during that chapter masih berlega-lega. So moving forward, what would your advice be, legally speaking? What are the legal options available for them?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Harish, number one, if FAM is adamant that someone has done wrong, then they have to take action. Number one. Number two, this is not really legal. This is a tactical move, strategic move. They should have a proper communication, explain to the people. Thirdly, they have to take accountability internally. It's very painful. Siapa yang salah, point out to them in Rizal's word. Throw them under the bus, right? So I wouldn't do that lah. But my point is, the other thing is that they have to look at the constitution of FAM. If I'm the lawyer, we have to read the FAM's constitution and need to also add in the so-called undang-undang kecil. Because most of this association, as you know, Harish, they will have their own mini constitution. Constitution and then mini rules, right? So the mini rules pertaining to players' eligibility may have to be reviewed, and then as a communication, they should explain to the rakyat lah, so this is what we have done, and we will make sure it will never happen again, right? And you're spot on, because they got it right before that. All the earlier players got it right. What happened to these 7 players? So study must be done lah, and it should not have happen again. But FAM is quite silent lah, very quiet.
Interesting bila you propose that integrity, macam
a new national
Pusurujaya
Pesuruhjaya Integriti
tu
Sukan
being expanded, maknanya ada Suruhanjaya Integriti Sukan, maknanya they can be in charge of doing all this due diligence, atau semua proses tu can go through them. Is that possible?
I suppose everything's on the table. It's always possible, but personally I feel the association should take responsibility lah. But at least we have an integrity commission. Now, for example, kita nak complain, PGS can't do anything. At the moment, PGS only can get involved if there is something wrong with your EGM, your association,
Pendaftaran.
your pendaftaran. So it's very limited on what they can do. Why don't we give the PGS a bit more space?
Tapi ikut sekarang ni, diorang boleh gantung persatuan kalau mereka tidak memenuhi ataupun melanggar certain prinsip.
Recently PGS suspended one association, but that was because the AGM was done incorrectly.
Yes.
But usually it's that kind of situation lah. Even the
You're
recent,
talking about pickleball, is it?
yes. Also the other one is a athletic association, state athletic, same thing. Same thing.
Combine of three.
So these are all examples of PGS's, and they do good job. They're trying, you know.
Jadi maknanya,
so maybe we give them a bit more, I would say, wide range situations. Then they can
authority.
come in, regulate.
Maknanya nanti kita kena propose lah pindaan kepada
STA.
Akta Pembangunan Sukan 1997.
Yep.
Yeah?
And we also, and many rakyat tak tahu that Malaysia we don't have a proper agency to regulate anti-doping. We have ADAMAS, Anti-Doping Agency Malaysia.
Yeah, ADAMAS.
But ADAMAS is more like a sub-unit under KBS, right? And technically under WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency. That's wrong, because ADAMAS should be independent, not regulated by government, because the government is funding the athlete to participate, and the government is funding so that there's a conflict lah. So I feel maybe once and for all we just have a National Integrity Commission for sports, where they regulate sports doping, blah blah blah, blah. I don't want to repeat lah. But I wouldn't say this solve all the problem. I'm not saying that ada ni all solve. No.
Tapi bantu proses.
It gives us an extra. But now we are a bit stuck at the end of there.
Betul.
So not everything can be resolved by one association or organisation. But at least we take steps.
Yang ni soalan untuk peminat. Khas untuk peminat. Peminat bola sepak yang gemar, yang kuat, komen, menyatakan pendapat. Ada pendapat bernas, ada pendapat yang agak emosi. So sebagai seorang peguam, apakah nasihat anda kepada mereka yang meninggalkan komen-komen di mana saja, berkenaan isu ini? Kerana kalau kita lihat, ada yang nampak gayanya macam manufactured comments, nampak gayanya macam paid, nampak gayanya macam very defamatory.
Cyber troopers.
And the whole works lah, and in both sides. So nak tahu where does the law stand when it comes to this? I mean, how far can they go with their comments?
Yeah, there's a very worrying signs. Harish, you actually spotted a very worldwide problem in social media accountability. People like to make comments. People say they call them keyboard warriors. Okay, so the laws against comments like this are the defamation laws. Actually, the penal code have comments where you make criminal defamation. For example, criminal defamation means I make a comment which actually claim that you are a murderer. The kind of comment, and when you're not. That is very dangerous comment. The third one is under our Communication and Multimedia Act, which created MCMC, and under Section 223, if I'm not mistaken, the very infamous provision, the MCMC has a lot of power to stop. The problem, Harish, is that terlalu banyak comment. And I remember reading this in about England, where the police have gone, because they don't have a MCMC in England, they have a police, right? And the police have a division just for technological issue. So I remembered the British police said they are fed up. They every day, if they go and catch someone for saying something stupid on social media, then they have no time to do anything else. So they are kind of like letting it go, but they are more like towards regulating, reminding people the consequence of saying something stupid. So in Malaysia, I think occasionally we do see MCMC clearly, or Harish, on purpose they arrest somebody, to make this person as a example, to then deter anybody else to do something. And it must be fair to MCMC. There's only so much they can do. But I can say that MCMC, especially I met the commissioners, they are adamant to try and regulate this, to stop this. So to the fans, bila nak buat komen tu, pertama sekali tanggungjawab. Komen yang kita buat kat social media tu, orang pun boleh komen terhadap kamu. Kalau kamu hantam Richard Wee pun boleh hantam kamu. Dan I nak hantam je. So social media tu penuh dengan kebencian.
Toxicity.
It's a very toxic. Padahal the purpose of social media, my memory in 2005 when Facebook first came out, that was one of the early social media. Before that was my Friendster and all that.
I was about to say, dia ni zaman Friendster.
Ni zaman Friendster. I'm such an old guy, right?
ICQ,
correct. ICQ,
SLP.
Yahoo Messenger, Yahoo Messenger. So that time was clearly meant for communication. It's a
betul.
positive to chat, to jumpa kawan lama yang maybe living in the overseas, blah blah. But now social media jadi tempat melepaskan geram yang biasanya kurang tepat. You are hantaming orang yang tak tepat. And of course some people on social media, contohnya, I know for a fact, always when it comes to football, always attack certain club down south, certain leader from the club. You keep on looking at that. You look at the comment. After a while, the person end up becoming a hero, because you keep on attacking this person, end up turn around. So actually, what is the purpose of the attack? Kalau benci sangat, then don't go into social media. Go take up taekwondo.
Tapi sekarang semua orang memang menggunakan social media untuk melampiaskan nafsu mereka. Okay? Macam kami pun masa kita bincang kes ni dibawa ke KAS, kita jemput Datuk Seri Megat Syariman, berceritakan pasal ikut pengalaman dia pernah ada isu dengan FIH apa semua. Dan kami bertiga ni dicop sebagai beruk. Ingat 3 beruk ni apa semua. So itu semua kita memang dah biasa kena bully lah. Cuma inilah masyarakat kita yang mereka menganggap pertama mereka menghasut. Okey, kedua memburukkan reputasi kita. Tapi kita tak ambil tindakan kerana kita bukan diorang. Okey, tapi inilah masalah kita. So kalau kita tidak boleh argue, berhujah secara ilmiah. Kerana kita tidak ada, kebanyakan tak ada ilmu. Komen mengikut emosi. Tapi macam mana kita nak perbetulkan keadaan ni, Richard?
Unfortunately, Rizal, situasi ini bukan satu situasi boleh selesaikan macam ni lah. I don't think will ever be solved. Simply because if you really want it to be solved, then every single person who made something of a defamation comment must be taken action against. And it will be virtually impossible. And people know that. So that's why, to me, it's more importantly is to think, because we know it can be resolved totally. So orang yang masuk social media, like me, I'm in social media, kena thick skin lah. You have to be thick skin. You have to accept that there will always be someone who attack us. So okay lah, I've been in social media since 2005, 2006, so I accept any critical comment. Richard ni suka promotion lah, but okay lah, whatever lah. I so long as my heart is right, I do what I have to do. And more importantly, like what you say is that I'm not you. So I'm not going to comment like you. Kalau kamu nak comment, aku beruk, aku dengar, aku tawa je lah. Ya alamak, I just laugh at you and then move on. That's why I think it goes back to this may end up taking this podcast to a different topic. It really goes back to our education system lah, our parents, how we tell our children, how we teach our kids, so that in future this what's happening now is because 20 years ago some parents let go, teachers have let go. This is why we are like that. And then blah blah blah. So that will take this topic to another whole problem.
Jangan risau, Richard. Setiap kali kita mempunyai perbualan, kita akan sentuh tentang sistem pendidikan Malaysia.
Eventually it'll come back, right?
Dan sebenarnya komen-komen anda tu sebenarnya mencerminkan latar belakang anda dan didikan keluarga. Jadi jaga-jaga.
So it's an unsolvable problem, but it is an issue which I like to tell everybody. Kalau kamu nak komen, kenalah bertanggungjawab. Kalau kamu tak suka orang hantam kamu jangan hantam orang lain. Use the social media to be happy, find nice things, buy things on social media.
TikTok shop.
Help economy. help the economy, beli barang.
Help
Yes.
boost
Digital
the
economy.
Okay.
Yes,
yes.
Jadi sebagai kata akhir, Richard, kemanakah hala tuju perbincangan ataupun isu ini? Kita mengharapkan ada closure. Jadi mungkin pandangan you, bagaimana kita nak mendapatkan closure itu? Apakah dengan Exco FAM meletak jawatan, kemudian AFC mencadangkan mungkin pindaan statut kepada FAM untuk membawa pucuk pimpinan barisan baru? Apakah itu sebenarnya tetap menyelesaikan masalah mengenai pemalsuan dokumen ni?
I will answer three things. Number one is that I think internally in FAM, not just FAM, even the Kerajaan Malaysia, this whole fiasco, we need to review the way we did things. The legally, there is clearly something wrong lah, Harish. Right? I'm not sure where, but there's something in the system tu, DUD tu dah gagal. So, for me to go into detail, I think 1 jam pun tak cukup. Second thing is that the 7 players, I think their advisors should tell them to just lie low. Because the more they talk, the more silly they look. Because they were...
The 7 players have not mentioned anything.
So far, they're very quiet. Initially, they were making some noise. The agent said, I want to sue and all that. So they've been very quiet. Good. So continue training, get ready, November, come back. The third thing is that I want to say this is totally outside this area. I'm happy that people finally understand the Court of Arbitration for Sports. People see FIFA, which means they will also eventually see UCI, FIBA. This is the world of sports law. And as a lawyer, I'm happy that finally sports law is getting a lot of recognition, right? Because when I started sports law many years ago, I remember people used to laugh at me. Said, there's no such thing as sports law. I said, no, there is. So I think the growth of many new lawyers is also good for the country. And the fact that you are discussing, and Harish himself is legally trained, I think these are all good ways to understand and realize importance of bringing legal concepts into sports so that sports are better governed. Yeah. So I want to thank all of you for having me today. I hope my answers tu boleh diterima, and anybody out there, if my comments are incorrect, jangan salah dia orang. You can go up because they're just questioning. I'm the one who making the comments.
I think at the end of the day, it's just sesi pembelajaran.
Yeah, it's just a
semua.
discussion.
Betul.
Yeah.
Bukan nak kata kami hebat ke, kami tahu segala-galanya, tak. Tapi sesi pembelajaran.
Kita tak panggil orang buruk, kita jadikan platform ni untuk mendidik.
Yeah.
Jadi
I thank
terima
everybody
kasih.
for hearing me out. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Terima kasih Richard kerana sudi meluangkan masa berkongsi pandangan dari sudut undang-undang dan juga mendidik kami juga sebagai moderator ataupun dalam podcaster untuk sama-sama cuba cari jalan penyelesaian dan memahami circumstances yang ada sekarang ini, apakah sebabnya, dan jika benar disebabkan kita ada budaya akur dalam kalangan masyarakat kita seperti apa yang digambarkan oleh Wahid Kadani dalam FM, itu adalah sesuatu yang kita harus renungi, muhasabah diri dan bagaimana untuk memperbetulkan keadaan. Jadi terima kasih sekali lagi Richard atas peluang yang menarik ini, dan terima kasih Harish Jol. Kita jumpa lagi minggu depan. Okey.
Minggu depan.
Hingga kita jumpa lagi. Salam hormat.
Thank you, cameraman.
Okey, terima kasih kerana menonton video kami. Julang ialah saluran YouTube yang meraihkan dan menjulang sukan serta insan-insan di sebaliknya. Kisah-kisah di sebalik tabir, perjalanan hidup dalam dunia sukan serta suara-suara yang membentuk dunia sukan kita. Kalau anda suka kandungan seperti ini, sila like, share dan subscribe kepada channel kami. Kami juga nak dengar pandangan anda. Tinggalkan komen anda di bawah. Jumpa lagi di episod seterusnya.